Hello, this is Psych Central's Ask the Therapist, and I'm Dr. Marie Hartwell-Walker. This is my colleague and friend, Dr. Dan Tomasulo. And what we wanted to talk to you about today is social anxiety. We've been getting more and more letters from people who have diagnosed themselves as having social anxiety. So let's first talk about what social anxiety really is.
When you have a concern about other people judging you, and that this concern sort of grows out of proportion to what actually might be happening, and you start limiting your behavior as a way to try to manage any kind of criticism. I think what's important with this is to see this as a wide range, that there's a lot of normal social anxiety that goes on. And I think sometimes people are too quick to pathologize this. And that would be one of the first things I would think about, is that having anxiety is part of being human, and having social anxiety is part of that.
In part being human, sure.
Yeah, so
worrying about what other people think.
What other people think.
It's very much a normal part of life. It's when it begins to take over, so that somebody doesn't leave their house because they're afraid of what other people think, or in the case of some of these letters from teenagers, not wanting to go to school because they're sure that other people are talking about them or judging them or whatever. And some people may be, but so what? Those aren't your friends.
And also that this is a time to see this as a skill that develops. And we've both talked about it, that we can have anxiety here, but we've also trained ourselves to, respond to the challenge, learn about techniques that are going to help us. And that's the other thing, is that the plasticity of the brain, the capacity for the brain to change, particularly during adolescence, is very rich. It really is capable of so much growth. So that if you have anxiety, one of the things that you can do is, take an acting class, as we talked about before. Do something to gain the skill to reduce the anxiety rather than become imprisoned by it.
That's key, because I think the natural response to pain is to pull in.
Yes, right.
And yet, the more a person pulls in because of anxiety, the more anxious they're going to become about getting back out.
Absolutely.
So again, I would underline what you said, is get involved with some activity that begins to desensitize you to being out front in some way. And that can be about being on, say, a debate team or an acting group, or start with a group where you're not the only one out front, and then gradually move yourself into a position where you're feeling more comfortable. I also want to remember and note that anxiety isn't always a bad thing.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
As Dan said, we're both a little anxious when we're doing these videotapes because we want to do well, and it sort of keeps us on our game. It keeps us energized. And any actor will tell you that having a little stage fright is perfect.
It's what they need.
I actually saw a documentary of the new Sound of Music that Carrie Underwood did on TV. And she was interviewed, and somebody asked her, "Are you nervous?" And she said, "Well, of course I am. But if you don't have butterflies, you're not serious."
Yeah, that's right. That's
so
exactly right.
Please don't always see having butterflies as meaning something's wrong.
It's not pathological.
No, it can actually mean that you're trying to help yourself do a good job.